Released in 2 weeks after initial recorded, but screw it, we bowl. Last time on the Infinite Badass Fleet, a man in green falls into the realm of void and finds a book with the mysterious power to summon beings from across the multiverse to his aid. After gaining a ship, a crew, and a whole island-sized elephant, they set forth to take on the quest to defeat the dread pirate, Void Beast by Yarth, and his cavalcade of ethereal minions. How does a rogue legacy boss control monsters from Zenless Zone Zero? I have no idea. But with the team's varied skills and just having a whole Saiyan on hand, they make quick work of the skeletal menace and proceed to the realm of gravity. What dangers will they face? What evil will plot their fall? What new powers will be unlocked? And most importantly, can we use this song? I'm screaming. Fact. Well, on with the tales of absurdity. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Infinite Badass Fleet, an absurd military force built by myself, Justin Mike, on a friend's Discord server via Muday. As explained in the last video, I have been making it into a whole thing from these Photoshop or Revit GIMP edits to spreadsheets to keep track of things, and even the occasional artwork drawn by hand. As of this year, videos, because my PS4 has so much gameplay footage and I need to get rid of it, so I might as well use it for B-roll to keep things visually interesting. So, in this heavy chapter of our tale, we venture forth into this rather strange place of grids and lines, where gravity is double what it usually is, and takes some time from us to adjust. Except Charlotte. He's just fine. On planet Regina, gravity, 10 times and all that. It's not as empty as a void due to what few planetoids we can find, but getting anything done can prove more difficult than usual. Zuri struggled the most as she wasn't a fighter and didn't have the strength to deal with this constantly. Just as we were still adjusting, however, our new enemy made themselves known. Introducing Massive. Massive! You know, from Lunatics Unleashed, the sci-fi action comedy spin-off of Looney Tunes from 2005. Ran for 2 years, mixed reception at best. It cameoed in Teen Titans Go and the Animaniacs reboot. The point is, he's one of their villains. He got gravity powers, okay? Mixed up heavier or lighter, affecting their mass, hence the name. Also, he's huge. Not in the kind of way get your mind in the gutter. So, as you can imagine, this guy, just gloating about how most of us are still trying to move with gravity double, thinking he got the edge right now and nobody could possibly stop, and Shadow shows up. Tries to hit him with that 10 times gravity and completely unfazed. Bewildered that somebody's still able to walk fine with that much pressure on him, he tries to go in for a right hook, only to get the hardest gut punch he's ever felt. He's so dense he's laser-proof, so the fact that this punch hurt this hard and knocked the wind out of him had him spooked. So dude starts running back through a portal and starts sending various Obernauts our way. Now I'm here wondering how the heck this guy got control of Eggman's bots, but then again, that pirate whose bones returned into potions was controlling void monsters from a whole different universe, so maybe there's a pattern there. Because they are orbs with smaller orbs orbiting around them, you just took Pacific's theme and nothing else. Anyway, make quick work of the badnik, since many of us have attack options that are much safer than just ramming our bodies into the things. Before the portal closes, some of the crew overheard Master saying something about needing a void stone and needing stronger bots. No idea what the stone thing's about, but it might be important later. Now, as we recruit from the sudden attack, and gravity strangely returning to normal, we start prepping for his return, and I get to summoning to make sure that we got enough forces to counter whatever Massive is planning. So let's go over our new recruits, shall we? Starting with number 33, Rope Guy Polly from One Piece. Expert shipwright, so you know that we're gonna have our ship shape with him around. As long as the whole deal with scantily clad women won't get in the way too much. He doesn't like seeing that a lot. Next up we got Paul Bunyan from the Fate series. Even though it's gender swap, it's still Paul Bunyan at the end of the day. And Paul Bunyan is strong. So I know that she's going to be able to handle some of the bigger threats coming our way. For sure, with like the giant axe and the big ox. I'm sure she can handle it. Oh, and this is a big one. The wise one, the Great Sage from Tensor. It's more of a species than a person, individual, specifically. So this one would be kind of my own individual Great Sage. Though if we do get Rimuru, I'm sure that CO will come in as a package deal. For now though, lots of great abilities that will be great for my repertoire here. Next up we got Pumpkin Chair Mecha Daihatsu for Punchline. Now she may not look at it from just looking at it, but this android do know her stuff. She's a hacker, she's a cook. Got a great deal of knowledge. Might be very helpful. Next up though, got Nagi the Edge Lord Usui from the World MVU. Specifically the sequel. Now as you know, Reaper's game survivors do know their stuff when it comes to like surviving on the battlefield with some crazy ass monsters, so I'm sure she knows a way around the block by this point. Also a bit eccentric, which, you know, I'm not even really complaining. No, we both weebs out here. It's cool. Next up is my boy Zack Fair from Final Fantasy VII. This guy is goated. You got the sword skills, you got the gun skills, you got the magic skills, hand-to-hand combat. This man is basically the reason I do squats. Man is a real inspiration. True hero. Next up, Huang Long, aka Koryu. Yeah, it's the legendary yellow dragon of legend, the cardinal beast type shit. I was not expecting to roll this, but hey, I ain't complaining. Stupid strong golden dragon with various abilities. Sure, it's Shin Megami Tensei, which I don't know too much about, but again, it's the yellow dragon. Next up we got Pippo Snake. Look, I'm just gonna be real with you. It's a Pippo monkey from Ape Escape, but it has all the skills of Solid Snake. Seriously, that's it. Misato from Senran Kagura. This girl here, finally, like a Senran Kagura character that isn't evil. And she has a weapon manipulating leaf fan. I'm sure that'll be useful for, you know, battlefield control. Look, I get it. Sometimes you want to look cool and smart, but it doesn't always work out. But like, hey, I ain't really complaining. As long as you can do what you do well. Next we got Ryo Leon from Danmachi. More of a stoic type, but as you know about them elf girls, gotta be high skilled in the archery and the magic. And she also got some good sword skills in there too. So she's gonna be a great boon to the team. Then we got Nan Volcanostick from Burn Up W. Another skilled inventor. We could always use more of those. And also a mech pilot to boot. I'm not much of a shoujo fan myself, but hey, to each their own. Then we got the Sword Saint herself. Now this girl, very sympathetic to others. Really kind person. But put her on the battlefield. Oh, with those divine protections of hers, she's gonna be the bane of the enemy's existence, I'll tell you that much right now. Then of course you got my boy, Jonathan Joestar, the original JoJo. Now most people tend to prefer Joseph, but I kinda mess with this guy heavy. I vibe with him. Like, big dude, big muscles, but true gentleman at the end of the day. I can respect that a great deal. And also, probably could learn a thing or two from him in terms of the Ripple. We got Dulcetto from Fullmetal Alchemist. Bit unfortunate, you know, war veteran, got through injuries, got experimented on, now he has like dog powers and stuff, but hey, sometimes life gives you lemons and you make lemonade, so hey. I'm sure it'll be a great boon to the team. skilled swordsman. I can see him contributing. Then, of course, we got the beauty berserker Johanna from Dragalia Lost. This girl just loves to fight. Win or lose, she's, you know, like, we could be losing a battle, she'd probably still be having a good time. Probably be swept up in a tornado and still be just going for it. And then we got the Lease Project from Spelunky. This little robot's been spelunking with all those other spelunkers, and god damn, there's a lot of ways to die in Spelunky. Probably got like all kinds of info for those creators whenever she gets back to them. Nuts. Well, this happened. So, as I was showing our latest edition around, we found ourselves under attack again. A massive swarm of Orbinauts of various types littered the sky. From the fiery Gola, the icy star pointers, spinning Tubionauts, storm golems, those are new to me. But they're all led by a bigger star pointer by the name of Big Istus. Now, yeah, that one Sonic 3 mini-boss. Not much of an issue, though. With an extra 16 to our team, we make quick work of these spots. Spike balls can only do so much for your defense when you got so many people with bows, guns, swords, axes, and so on just hitting right between into the face. Cleaning up the wreckage, though, Istus' CPU was still intact, so Mecha and Nanville was able to upload some of it and figure out what it came to do. Turns out it was programmed to follow Massive's orders, and the last directive was to retrieve the Void Stone from Bayar's possession. Now, that guy did drop some loot when we beat him, but I didn't think much of that rock he had on him. Turns out it was important, go figure. There was also coordinates on Massive's lair, so now all we had to do was find a way to use it, and navigate our way to this realm, and bring the fight to him. Lease also happened to be good with using space coordinates, so the timing of adding her was darn near perfect. So as we made our way to his lair and prepared for the big battle, I got back to summoning, so we got more than enough people once we're there to handle whatever he's got planned. So continuing number 49, we got Cleophe from Wak Fu. Now she's gone through some military training with the Kra armies, of course, hand-to-hand combat skill, mounted crossbow, good with acrobatics. Seems like a pretty good fit, not gonna lie. So, I wonder if she would go AWOL. Next up, though, got number 50, Kairi from Kingdom Hearts. Now, of course, she's had a history of being kidnapped here or there, but she's gone through some proper Keyblade training, so she knows her stuff a bit. Probably like, she's no way she's like as powerful as her boyfriend, but like, no, she got hands for real. I think she can handle herself at this one. I've seen what she's done to that old man. Well deserved. Next up, for number 51, we got the great nail sage himself, Sly from Hollow Knight. This guy is an absolute master swordsman. He's taught like 3 of the greatest swordsmen in Hollow Knight, so at least what's left of it. I mean, he's more of a shop owner now, but hey, if he gotta lock in with the skills, he got it. Next up, for number 52, we got Umaro from Final Fantasy VI. Now, I think just looking at him kind of just speaks for itself. He's a big-ass Yeti, and the Berserker at that. Sure, maybe not the best at holding that conversation, but he got a strong sense of armor and a Blizzard Orb, so I think he's cool. Next up for number 53, we got Red Link from Legend of Zelda. He's like Link, but red. And Link's pretty skilled, so yeah, he's in. Number 54 is Follette from Death Smiles. I don't know much about this series, but going off your information, seems like she's pretty skilled with fire magic, even if the means of her acquiring such abilities were not so pleasant. Hey, that's trauma for you. Probably doing better now, at least. Next up, Josqua from Final Fantasy, the Four Heroes of Light. Now, from what I can tell, this guy seems like one of those brilliant but lazy types. Like, he can do some amazing stuff. It's just a matter of getting him in the type of mood to actually want to. which I kind of get personally, but anyway, if we're in a situation and he needs to lock in, I'm sure he'll pull through. Next up, number 56, Elfit Valentine from Guilty Gear. Now, from what I've heard, she's something of an odd case among her siblings. Valentines were created by some entity from the backyard, I think. Guilty Gear lore is weird. Anyways, point is, she actually like really cares about humanity and nature and animals and stuff, so like, I'm sure she'll be willing to help. And she's a fighting game character, so you know she got them hands for real. Next up, number 57, Mimi Pearlbutton from ReZero. Now, you probably noticed before, like, ReZero characters be on some stuff. I was going over, like, Teresia earlier. Mimi, though, more of a straightforward sort. Not here, like, using the staff for, like, combat. I think she has, like, a particular type of protection that she shares with her brothers. If we could get them on board too, that would be helpful. Let's see if I'm reading this right. Marguerite? Or Marguerite? One of the Kuja pirates from One Piece. Aside from like the expected skills in like hockey and archery, as you would expect from the Kuja, she's also a talented seamstress. And also quite honest. So, probably quite trustworthy to have on board. Then we have the Oracle of Seasons, Din from Legend of Zelda. She has the power to change the seasons, it seems. And that can be useful for affecting the battlefield for the rest of the group. Also a bit of a dancer. Sure enough. Number 60, Dragon Maid Tilru from Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, I don't know much about these Yu-Gi-Oh! Dragon Maids in particular, but if the ones from that other series is anything to go by, I mean, she's a dragon and a maid who can cook. That seems like a pretty solid deal. We got Reese Drake from Dinosaur King. Now, apparently this girl is way stronger than she looks, and is quite the inventor. She created multiple devices that helped her brother and his friends like deal with all this dinosaur stuff that they'd be doing with. Also, the wiki is just oddly on her case about being single. It's weird. Next up, for number 62, we got Carol Tachibana from Z-Girls. Now, you may have noticed about here, I do have a liking for maids, especially they can fight, and this one has a rocket launcher, so yeah, she's in. Especially if she's like able to handle zombies, sure, why not? And she's a chef. I'm not really seeing a downside. Number 63, Knuckle Bind from Hunter x Hunter. Now, if you know anything about Hunter x Hunter, you know that these hunters be quite the fighters and quite skilled. In fact, Knuckle in particular is also a math nerd, so like I can kind of relate with that on a personal level. His whole Nen ability kind of revolves around, funnily enough, turning Nen energy into like a whole financial thing. You could actually get bankruptcy. That is wild. Bit of a quick temper, but you know he's got a good heart in him. And finally, for number 64, we got Senor Pink from One Piece. Yeah, we start with One Piece, we end with One Piece. Now, normally I wouldn't be putting people from the Don Quixote family on board, considering everything, but Senor Pink has got to be one of those guys with those super tragic backstories that you just can't help but feel bad when you hear about it. Like, god damn. If only things could have gone differently. Maybe his wife and kid could have been okay. God damn it. But hey, it's a strong, hard-boiled dude. He can run the ones with freaking Frankie of all people, and he's like a strong-ass cyborg, so you know he got them hands for real. Also, that devil power really be coming in handy. He'd be able to swim on land like Chuck Norris for real. Ain't that something? Now, before we go on to talk about how this arc reaches its climax, let's go over a few other things that's been going down between summons. Firstly, the crossover potential. Sure, it's not like the big MCs of every series present so far, but like the conversations are just as wild as you would imagine. From JoJo speaking of his bizarre adventures, the Elfit's family dynamics, Mako's true nature as an android, anyone not already familiar with how those work, the shopkeeper's stories even, or just being on Zunisha in general probably be blowing some people's minds unless they're like from Xenoblade or something. They're probably more used to something like that. Learning about the different power systems unique to their worlds and what they have in common, magic or lifestyles. We learn a lot from each other, and that's how scary, and also like how scary some of these guys can be. Like the stuff Zack has survived, the things Teresia can do to her body, Kyrie's kidnappers, god damn, but shit Xehanort does. The backyard in general is just freaking nuts. And of course you got like zombie hordes and such, and Truth and Doji kind of just being like right over here, like drunk off her ass. It's a lot to take in. More so for some than others, especially with how powerful some stuff be. From the dragons to the space tyrants, whoever is trying to take over the universe, it's nuts. Reactions be priceless. Another boon of all this crossover of people of different worlds, however, is that we can learn from each other, skills, abilities, techniques. I've personally been doing some learning myself on how to use Magic and Key in the last arc, and while I ain't quite mastered anything yet, I do be making progress, so why not add more to my play to make things more difficult for myself than it used to be? I have a problem. So I started taking on both the basics of Hamon and Hockey now that I got like Jonathan and Marguerite to learn from, and the addition of my own great sage has also exponentially improved my learning capability due to all the perks that just came with that, so I'm able to just juggle learning all four much better than I anticipated. Although, even with thought acceleration, parallel processing, and all of creation making learning these abilities and power systems way faster and easier, I still like to go about finding them at my own pace when it comes to the basics at least. Only really using the great stage stuff towards the end of the travel to the layer so I can put some combos into play. So, finally, the big confrontation. The Infinite Badass Fate versus Massive and his Obernaut Swarm. On a base closely resembling that of that space station from Looney Tunes. I don't think I had a name, but it was a world in that one Bugs Bunny game on PS1. I think they called Dimension X. Can they take on this crushing threat, this villain of incredible magnitude? How could they ever? Well, okay, I'll just stop joking around. He's cooked. He's so damn cooked. Charlotte didn't even have to do nothing. Hell, Kyrie and Zack could have sat back and he'd still be so cooked. I'm talking rotisserie roasted, deep fried, applewood smoked and flambéed. You probably understood by this point that the Orbernauts are a non-factor. They easy to one-shot, and dude could only do so much to make some of us heavier while fighting modes essentially jumping. This just be what happens when you don't got the element of surprise on the card, especially when it's like twice as big as the last time you faced it and suddenly it got dragons. Now don't get me wrong, he's strong. He's a big dude with big muscles and his body dense as all get out, too dense for normal blades or even lasers, but he ain't magic proof. Armament Hockey can bypass durability, and even in Lunatics Unleashed itself, he was being tossed around by anyone strong enough to rock big muscles himself, so while I could just let Charlotte solo him, I kinda want to set an example. Put the teamwork in, various members shine in their own ways. Pink can trap him on the ground, let JoJo get his looks in, Archer support in the back, Margaret be getting in with the piercing damage with the hockey arrows, giving Tracy the openings for some permanent bleeding points with her sword scene ability, blind him with Melora's morning glow attack, bombardment from magic from several people just to keep him disoriented so Paul can bind him with some rope. Paul Bunyan comes in with the giant axe slam with the flat end, and just when he thinks like couldn't get any worse, I use Armament Hockey to cut his chest open with bootleg Oathkeeper. Let him know who's he messing with out here. And then I let Charlotte roll up. just to fuck with him, asserting dominance by just floating over his ass for the KO with another single gut punch. Just book and finish, like poetry. So with all that done and dusted, what is the team's reward for this time? Well, firstly, it appears that Massive has a stone of his own, and of course it's also gravity themed, so that's 2 strange rocks now that we have no idea what they're used for, but may be important for later. Those with engineering experience took up scraps from the robots to see what they can make use of, and we're about to see what was on this huge computer that was presumably used to contact whatever Massive was working with, but it was suddenly crushed as flat as a pancake. Massive was still conscious and was pissed. Said he's about just done and will crush everyone till fine mist. And I retorted, "You may be this big, strong, super durable dude, but at the end of the day, you're still a Looney Tune technically. Comedy will always be king in your undoing." Now he and everyone surrounding me is looking at me confused, wondering like, what the heck am I on about? And right as Massive was about to scream at me in a rage, he got a big ol' anvil right to the head, courtesy of Red Link, up on a pillar just as planned. Didn't hurt him, of course, but the extra weight was just enough for the ledge he was on to collapse right from under him as he fell into a nearby black hole, Super Mario Galaxy style. Bye, Doc. So we close this chapter with another villain defeated. How's that for some absurd crossover fanfickery? The plot thickens, the crew doubles in size, and we already making the dang dream work with the teamwork. Maybe it sounds weird writing this from a first-person perspective, but it's honestly, it's more honest just being pretentious for like a shameful for doing a self-inside. I mean, it's literally just my avatar in the image. I know it all sounds goofy, but I'm just rolling with it. Might as well I might even do like something interesting with this goofy ass trip. I don't know. But to wrap it all up, let's see how it can give a little anticipation for what happens next. Next time on the Infinite Badass Fleet, space, the final frontier, setting the stage for an invasion of creative bankruptcy. Or does that still count when it starts in space? A slasher film, sure, but if you start with a space adventure, then do you really know when you've actually run out of ideas? Now screw it. Part 3 is aliens. We find aliens. Which ones? I already hinted at it. Good luck figuring that out. Bye.